The phone vibrated relentlessly on the nightstand, shattering the fragile peace of the dimly lit apartment. Emily stared at the screen, her mother's name flashing like an accusation, but she let it ring until it died into silence. When the voicemail notification popped up, she pressed play, and her mother's voice erupted like a storm. "How could you do this, Emily? Skipping your own brother's wedding? We're all here, the whole family, and you're off God knows where, being selfish as always." The words hit like a slap, but Emily's hand trembled not from guilt, but from the secret burning inside her, the one that had kept her from that church in suburban Chicago, where vows were being exchanged under the weight of tradition she could no longer bear. It had started innocently enough, or so Emily told herself in those quiet moments of denial. She was 28, a rising architect in New York City, her life a meticulously designed blueprint of success. A corner office overlooking the Hudson, a portfolio of sleek modern buildings that whispered of innovation. But beneath the polished exterior lay the chaos of her heart, tangled in a love that society, and her family, still viewed as a deviation. Sarah, her fiancé, had entered her world 2 years ago at a gallery opening in Soho, her laughter cutting through the pretentious chatter like a beam of light. Sarah was everything Emily wasn't. Bold, unapologetic, a civil rights lawyer who fought for marginalized voices in courtrooms that reeked of outdated prejudices. Their first kiss had been under the glow of neon signs on a rainy night, a spark that ignited a fire Emily had spent her life suppressing. That fire had led to this moment. The wedding invitation had arrived months ago, embossed with gold lettering announcing her brother Mark's union to his high school sweetheart, Lisa. Emily's parents, devout Catholics from the Midwest, had planned it as a grand affair, a testament to family values they held sacred. "You have to be there," her father had said over a tense phone call. "It's about unity, Em. We're all we have." But unity felt like a cage to Emily. How could she stand there, smiling in a bridesmaid dress, while her own engagement ring, hidden in a drawer, symbolized a truth her family would never accept? Sarah had urged her to come out, to rip off the Band-Aid. "They love you," she'd said, her green eyes pleading. "Give them a chance." But Emily knew better. Her parents' casual remarks about those people in the news, her mother's prayers for her to find a nice man, her father's silence on anything that challenged their worldview, it all screamed rejection. The decision to skip the wedding hadn't come easily. It gnawed at her for weeks, a constant war between loyalty and self-preservation. On the eve of the event, as Sarah packed for a weekend getaway they'd planned instead, a quiet cabin in the Catskills, Emily had paced the living room, her mind a whirlwind. "What if they disown me?" she'd whispered, collapsing onto the couch. Sarah knelt before her, taking her hands. "Then we build our own family. But hiding forever? That's not living, Em." The getaway was meant to be their escape, a bubble where they could pretend the world didn't judge. But as they drove upstate, Emily's phone buzzed with texts from relatives. "Where are you? This is disappointing." And now the voicemail from her mother sealed it. She was the villain in their story. Back in the apartment, Emily tossed the phone aside and buried her face in her hands. The city outside hummed with indifferent life, taxis honking, sirens wailing in the distance. Sarah emerged from the bedroom, her hair tousled from sleep, concern etching her features. "Was that them?" she asked softly, wrapping her arms around Emily from behind. Emily nodded, the warmth of Sarah's embrace a stark contrast to the cold dread in her chest. "They think I'm selfish. Maybe I am." Sarah turned her around, their eyes locking in that way that always grounded Emily. "You're protecting us. Protecting what we have. But this can't go on. Secrets like this, they eat you alive." As the days blurred into a haze of unanswered calls and mounting tension, Emily threw herself into work, drafting blueprints for a community center in Brooklyn, a project that mirrored her own longing for acceptance. But the guilt festered. Mark, her older brother, had always been the golden child, the one who followed the path laid out. College, steady job, marriage to a woman who fit the mold. Emily had been the outlier, the one who moved to the city, chasing dreams that seemed frivolous to her parents. Skipping his wedding felt like betrayal, a deliberate cut to the family ties that had once bound her. Yet, revealing Sarah would sever them entirely. Or would it? Doubt crept in during sleepless nights, Sarah's steady breathing beside her a reminder of what was at stake. One evening as they cooked dinner in their cozy kitchen, pasta simmering on the stove, wine glasses clinking, Sarah broached the subject again. Have you thought about calling them back? Explaining. Emily stirred the sauce aggressively, her knuckles white. Explain what? That I'm in love with a woman? That our engagement is real, but hidden because they're too narrow-minded. The words hung heavy, laced with bitterness. Sarah set down her knife, her voice steady but edged with frustration. Hiding isn't fair to me either, Em. I love you, but I won't be your secret forever. It was the first crack in their foundation, a warning shot that made Emily's heart clench. She reached for Sarah, pulling her close, their foreheads touching. I know. I'm sorry. Just give me time. Time, however, was a luxury they didn't have. The family fallout escalated. Her father left a message next, his tone gruff and disappointed. Your mother hasn't stopped crying. This isn't like you. Emily listened in the solitude of her office, tears streaming down her face. The pressure built like a storm cloud, threatening to burst. She began questioning everything. Was her love for Sarah worth the isolation? Could she endure the judgment, the whispers at family gatherings? The internal conflict raged, a battle between her heart's truth and the ingrained fear of rejection. In quiet moments she recalled childhood Sundays at church, the sermons on sin that now echoed as condemnations of her very being. Sarah, sensing the turmoil, suggested therapy, a neutral space to unpack the layers of trauma. Their first session was raw, Emily admitting how her parents' expectations had shaped her into a performer, always masking her true self. The therapist nodded empathetically. Coming out is a choice, but so is staying hidden. What price are you willing to pay? The question haunted Emily as they left, hand in hand, navigating the bustling streets. That night, in the intimacy of their bed, Sarah whispered promises of forever, but Emily felt the weight of impending doom. The wedding skip was just the beginning. The real explosion loomed on the horizon. As weeks turned to months, the silence from her family grew deafening, punctuated only by occasional barbed texts from cousins. Emily's work suffered, her designs lacking the spark they once had. Sarah, ever the fighter, began researching support groups for LGBTQ+ individuals with conservative families. We don't have to do this alone, she said over breakfast one morning, sliding a pamphlet across the table. Emily glanced at it, her resolve wavering. But deep down the fear persisted. A visceral terror of losing the only family she'd known. Little did she know the truth was already unraveling. Threads pulled by forces beyond her control. The rift with her family widened like a chasm, each unanswered call adding another layer of earth to the divide. Emily buried herself in routines, but the ache was constant, a dull throb that colored every interaction. Sarah noticed, of course. Her perceptiveness was both a blessing and a curse. Talk to me, she'd say during their evening walks in Central Park, the autumn leaves crunching underfoot like fragile hopes. Emily would squeeze her hand, forcing a smile. I'm fine. Just processing. But she wasn't. The selfishness label stung because part of her believed it. Had she chosen love over family? Or cowardice over confrontation? Flashbacks haunted her. Family holidays in their Illinois home. The laughter around the dinner table masking the subtle expectations. When are you bringing home a boyfriend? Her mother would tease, eyes twinkling with ignorance. Mark had always defended her. His protective big brother instincts kicking in. Leave her alone, Mom. Em's focused on her career. But now she'd betrayed that bond, skipping the day that should have celebrated his happiness. Guilt twisted like a knife when she imagined him at the altar, glancing at the empty seat reserved for her. Sarah's patience began to fray. As a lawyer advocating for queer rights, she lived openly, her own coming-out story a tale of triumph over adversity. Her parents, progressive academics in Boston, had embraced her identity years ago. I don't understand why you're letting them control you, she said one night over takeout Chinese, her chopsticks paused midair. Emily sighed, pushing food around her plate. It's not that simple. They're not like your family. Mine. They'd see it as a failure. As if I chose this to hurt them. The conversation escalated, voices rising in the confined space of their apartment. "And what about hurting me?" Sarah countered, her eyes flashing. "Every time you hide us, it's like I'm not real to you." The argument left them both raw, sleeping back to back for the first time in months. Emily lay awake staring at the ceiling, her mind racing through scenarios. What if she told them? Pictured her mother's tears, her father's stoic disappointment, the extended family's gossip. Or worse, outright rejection. Doors slammed, inheritances revoked, holidays alone. But staying silent meant eroding her relationship with Sarah, the one person who saw her fully. It was a moral quandary, a choice between blood and chosen love, each path littered with pain. Work provided a temporary refuge. Emily's firm landed a major contract for a LGBTQ+ youth center, irony not lost on her. During meetings, she advocated passionately for inclusive designs, private spaces for counseling, vibrant colors symbolizing pride. Her colleagues praised her insight, unaware of the personal stakes. One afternoon, her boss, a straight ally named Tom, pulled her aside. "This project means a lot to you, huh?" "I can tell." Emily nodded, throat tight. "Yeah, it's about creating safe spaces where people don't have to hide." The words echoed her own hypocrisy, fueling the internal storm. Meanwhile, back home, the family dynamics shifted without her knowledge. Mark, hurt by her absence, confided in Lisa about his suspicions. "Em's been distant for years. Think it's a guy? Or something else?" Lisa, perceptive and kind, urged him to reach out. But Mark hesitated, pride wounded. Their parents, however, stewed in resentment. Her mother joined a church support group for wayward children, venting about Emily's rebellious phase. Whispers spread, cousins speculating on social media. Subtle posts about family loyalty that Emily saw but ignored. Sarah, determined to bridge the gap, suggested a compromise. Attend a family event incognito, test the waters. "Thanksgiving's coming. Go alone, feel them out." Emily balked. "And leave you here?" "No." But the idea planted a seed. As November approached, invitations arrived via email, formal, almost obligatory. Emily debated, her heart torn. Accepting meant pretense, declining meant further alienation. In a moment of vulnerability, she called Mark, the first contact since the wedding. "Hey sis," he answered, voice guarded. "Finally decided to grace us with your presence?" Emily winced. "I'm sorry, Mark. I had things going on." He sighed. "Things? Like what?" "We waited for you. Mom was devastated." The conversation unraveled her defenses. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. It's complicated." Mark pressed, "Then uncomplicate it. Come for Thanksgiving. Make it right." She hung up, conflicted, and shared the call with Sarah. "See? They want you there," Sarah said, hopeful. But Emily sensed the undercurrent, the expectation of conformity. The decision loomed, a pivotal choice. Emily chose to go alone, leaving Sarah behind with promises of honesty soon. The flight to Chicago was turbulent, mirroring her emotions. Landing at O'Hare, she rented a car and drove to the family home, the familiar suburbs evoking nostalgia mixed with dread. Her parents greeted her stiffly, hugs brief. "Glad you could make it this time," her father said, eyes searching. Dinner was tense, conversation skirting the wedding absence. Mark pulled her aside after. "What's really going on, Em? You look like hell." Tears welled as she confessed fragments. "I'm seeing someone. Serious but complicated." Mark frowned. "A guy? Bring him next time." Emily's silence spoke volumes. "Not a guy," he whispered, shock dawning. She nodded, heart pounding. "Please don't tell them." Mark promised, but the seed of betrayal was sown. Back in New York, Sarah waited anxiously, unaware that the truth was slipping from Emily's grasp. The holiday ended in uneasy truce, Emily returning with renewed resolve to come out. But Mark, torn between loyalty to his sister and his parents, confided in Lisa, who urged discretion. Unbeknownst to Emily, the whisper chain began. Her mother overheard a phone call, piecing together clues. The family's foundation cracked, setting the stage for confrontation. Emily and Sarah's relationship strained under the weight. A fight erupted when Emily admitted the partial confession. You told Mark but not me about the risk? Sarah yelled. I was protecting us. Emily shot back. The night ended in tears, reconciliations whispered in the dark. But the damage lingered, trust frayed. As Christmas neared, invitations arrived again, this time with ultimatums. Bring your mystery person. Her mother texted, suspicion evident. Emily panicked, the moral dilemma peaking. Reveal and risk loss or lie and lose Sarah. She chose delay, but fate intervened. The confrontation came sooner than expected. A powder keg ignited by a single spark. Emily's phone rang during a late-night work session, her mother's number lighting up the screen. Answering hesitantly, she was met with sobs. Emily, how could you? Mark told us everything. Her world tilted. What? He promised. But promises shattered like glass under pressure. Her mother continued, voice breaking. A woman? You're living in sin? We've raised you better. The call devolved into accusations, selfishness, betrayal, moral failure. Emily hung up, numb, the apartment spinning. Sarah found her curled on the floor, phone clutched like a lifeline. What happened? Emily recounted, tears streaming. Mark betrayed me. They know. Sarah's face hardened, anger flashing. He had no right. But this is it, the moment to fight. Emily shook her head, overwhelmed. Fight? They'll never accept us. The night blurred into arguments, Sarah pushing for defiance, Emily retreating into fear. I can't lose them, she whispered. Sarah's response cut deep. But you can lose me? The family backlash intensified. Her father emailed a lengthy missive, quoting Bible verses on traditional marriage, urging therapy for her confusion. Cousins unfriended her on social media, whispers turning to outright shunning. Mark called apologetically. I didn't mean to. Mom overheard. I'm sorry, Em. But sorry didn't mend the fracture. Emily felt exposed, raw. Her private life dissected under the lens of judgment. The societal pressure weighed heavy. Friends at work offered support, but the conservative undercurrents in America reminded her of battles still raging. Court cases on rights, protests for equality. Sarah, fueled by indignation, drafted a response letter, eloquent and firm. Let me send it. Show them who we are. Emily hesitated, the internal conflict raging. Sending it meant escalation. Silence meant surrender. She agreed, but with caveats, no ultimatums. The letter went out, detailing their love, the pain of hiding, a plea for understanding. The response was swift. Radio silence, then a family Zoom call invitation. We need to talk, the subject read. The call was a battlefield. Her parents appeared stern, Mark and Lisa in the background. This is a phase, her mother insisted. Come home, we'll get you help. Emily's voice trembled. It's not a phase. I love Sarah. She's my fiancée. Gasps echoed. Her father interjected. Fiancée? That's not marriage in God's eyes. Sarah, off camera, squeezed her hand, whispering encouragement. But the words stung, eroding Emily's resolve. Mark defended weakly. Give her a chance. The call ended in stalemate, no resolution, only deeper wounds. Post-call, Emily spiraled. They'll never change, she sobbed to Sarah. Maybe I'm wrong for forcing this. Sarah pulled away, hurt. Forcing? Our love isn't a choice to debate. The rift between them widened, Sarah spending nights at a friend's, needing space. Emily, alone in the apartment, questioned her decisions. Had coming out been selfish? The moral ambiguity gnawed. Loyalty to self versus family harmony. Reconciliation attempts faltered. Emily visited a support group, hearing stories mirroring hers. Disownments, gradual acceptances. Inspired, she reached out to her parents individually. Her mother responded tearfully. I don't understand, but I love you. Progress? Or placation? Her father remained distant, the patriarchal expectations unyielding. Sarah returned, but tension lingered. We need to decide, she said. Are we fighting together or apart? Emily chose together, but doubt persisted. A turning point came at a pride event. Sarah dragged her to crowds chanting for rights, a sea of rainbows. Emily felt empowered, yet alienated from her roots. Then betrayal struck again. Mark, under pressure, revealed more. Details of their life Emily had shared in confidence. Her parents confronted her via text. Living together? That's immoral. Emily raged at Mark. You promised. He admitted. They cornered me. I thought it would help. The family unit fractured irreparably, Emily cutting contact temporarily. The costs mounted. Sleepless nights, therapy sessions, strained work performance. Sarah bore it stoically, but cracks showed. Missed dinners, distant touches. Is this worth it? Emily asked one evening, rain pattering against windows. Sarah's eyes welled. You are. But I can't be the villain in your story. As winter deepened, Emily faced a crossroads. Attend a family mediation suggested by Lisa, or walk away. She chose mediation, hoping for healing. The session, virtual, was charged. A neutral facilitator guided, but emotions erupted. Her mother admitted fears. Society will judge you. Emily countered. Society is changing. Why can't you? Her father softened slightly. We want your happiness. But underlying conditions loomed. Acceptance conditional on discretion. Sarah, excluded, fumed. They're bargaining with our love. The mediation ended ambiguously, promises of time. Emily returned hopeful, but Sarah's skepticism sowed discord. Time for what? More hiding. The climax built. Sarah issued an ultimatum. Come out fully or I'm done. Emily, torn, agreed, but with a plan. Invite family to New York, reveal everything in person. The invitation sent. Nerves frayed. The invitation hung in the air like a guillotine. Accepted with reluctance. Emily's parents and Mark arrived in New York, the city's energy a stark contrast to their Midwestern reserve. They stayed at a hotel, the meeting set for dinner at a neutral restaurant. Sarah prepared meticulously, her lawyer instincts sharpening her words. Emily paced, anxiety peaking. What if it blows up? Sarah hugged her. Then we face it together. Dinner started civilly, small talk over appetizers. But tension simmered. Her mother eyed Sarah warily, introduction stiff. So you're the friend. Emily corrected firmly. Fiancée. The word dropped like a bomb. Her father cleared his throat. Let's discuss this calmly. But calm evaporated as questions poured. How long? Why hide? Emily explained, voice steady. Fear. Of this reaction. Mark shifted uncomfortably. Guilt evident. The conversation turned heated. Her mother tearfully. We raised you in faith. This goes against everything. Sarah interjected. Love isn't against faith. Judgment is. Her father bristled. Don't lecture us. Emily mediated, but pain surfaced, childhood memories clashing with present truths. I tried to be who you wanted, she said, tears falling. But this is me. Mark confessed his role. I messed up by telling. But I want us whole. Lisa via video added support. Family evolves. Yet her parents resisted, citing societal norms, fears of scandal. What about grandchildren? Legacy. The questions exposed deep-seated biases, Emily feeling reduced to expectations. Sarah, composed, shared her story. I lost friends coming out, but gained authenticity. Emily deserves that. The words resonated, her mother softening. We don't want to lose you. But her father stood firm. We can't condone this. The dinner ended in impasse, hugs awkward, promises vague. Back home, Emily collapsed, exhausted. Was it worth it? Sarah held her. Yes. You were brave. But the toll was evident. Sleeplessness, appetite loss. Work suffered. A design error cost her a promotion. Friends rallied, but isolation from family gnawed. Betrayal resurfaced when cousins posted online. Subtle digs at lifestyle choices. Emily confronted Mark. Control your circle. He apologized, but damage done. Societal pressure amplified. News of anti-LGBTQ bills reminded her of fragility. Sarah bore the brunt, her caseload increasing as she channeled frustration. I'm fighting for us out there, she'd say. But intimacy waned, touches tentative. Emily questioned. Had her choices doomed them? A breakthrough came via letter from her mother. Praying for understanding. Miss you. Emily responded openly, sharing photos of their life, subtle, Non-explicit. Dialogue opened, slow but steady. Her father remained distant, a moral standoff. Emily visited alone, conversations probing ethics. Is love wrong if it's same-sex? He pondered, seeds planted. But tension with Sarah peaked. During a fight. Your family's dragging us down. Emily snapped. They're part of me. Sarah stormed out, staying away days. Emily reflected, realizing the cost. Sarah's sacrifices unacknowledged. Reunion was tearful. I choose you, Emily vowed. They recommitted, therapy helping navigate. As spring bloomed, family ties mended partially. Mark visited, meeting Sarah properly. You're good for her, he admitted. Parents called sporadically, acceptance budding. Yet the journey scarred. Emily's confidence grew, advocating at work. But doubts lingered. Had she paid too high a price? Healing was gradual. A mosaic piece from shattered fragments. Emily and Sarah's relationship deepened through trials. Their engagement now openly celebrated among friends. Wedding plans emerged, simple, in a New York park, symbolizing freedom. Invitations to family were sent cautiously. Responses mixed. Her mother attended virtually, a step forward. Her father declined but sent a card. Wishing happiness. Mark walked her down the aisle, tears in his eyes. Post-wedding dynamics shifted. Family gatherings included Sarah tentatively. Conversations evolving from awkward to genuine. Her mother asked questions. How did you know? Emily shared honestly, bridges building. Societal acceptance grew but prejudices persisted. Subtle comments at reunions tested resolve. Emily reflected on choices. The wedding skip, partial confessions, ultimatums. Each carried a price, lost trust, emotional scars. But gains outweighed. Authenticity, stronger bonds. Sarah's influence shone. Her advocacy inspired Emily to volunteer, fighting for others' rights. Together they navigated mended family ties, aware of fragility. Years later, at a family reunion, tensions resurfaced over a cousin's similar struggle. Emily spoke up, her story a beacon. Her parents listened, growth evident. The journey taught. Love demands sacrifice but truth liberates. Yet questions remained. Was hiding her truth initially the right choice, or did it only prolong the inevitable pain?